So the new event just dropped, and it is going to be the deep sea event. I went ahead and looked at this real quick, and it's looking pretty good. Now, the reason I like to save so many medals is that at the beginning of the event, I could basically buy almost all of these. So what we're going to do first is, obviously, we're going to go ahead and get the tower and the background skin. So for the tower, it's going to be the dive helmet. It looks pretty cool. I'm really happy to add that. And then for the background, it's going to be deep sea. Now, this is a repeat event, so I'm pretty happy to finally add this one to my collection. I've seen it online, I've seen it on the Reddit and on the Discord, but being able to have it, I'm really excited. So now that we have it, I'm going to go ahead and throw it on. And if you don't know, you can change your skins mid-game just by saving, exiting, and then just loading it back up. Now, once we've loaded it up, we're just going to click off so that we don't resume, and we can go in here to check out our skins. Now we'll go all the way down and we'll find where the dive helmet is, and then for the background, the deep sea. Now that we have that on, we can resume battle, and now we have it going. Now this is really nice. I really like this. I like the bubbles coming up, the sharks swimming around. This is a really great aesthetic. I didn't think I was going to like the dive helmet in it just because it kind of contrasts with the blue background, but with the enemies kind of sharing that similar color, the tanks and the fast enemies, I actually really like this. So let's jump back into the event, and let's go ahead and talk about some of these relics. So I thought it'd be fun while we're going through this, we're going to go ahead and just rank these. Now, we're going to start off with some of the better ones, I think, and it's going to be the Coral Crown. Now, this is a rare, so that kind of doesn't let it go too high on the tier list, but it's going to increase tower health regen by 2%. Now, for any new players who don't have the wall, anyone using the Turtle, the Blender, or the Orb Devo build, this is still going to be great. It's going to help you get just a little bit further at the end of your run. But once you have the wall, this is really going to start shining, because with the trade-off perk to increase your tower regen, plus the wall regen research in the lab, this is going to make it all the better. So for this, I'm going to honestly give this an A, just because of how good it can be in the early and mid game. Now, obviously, into the late game, it's not going to be as great, but most players are going to be in that early to mid game phase, so this is great for you. Next up is going to be the Anglerfish Relic, and this is going to be an epic relic. It's going to increase your thorns by 2%, so this is going to be really, really good for players who don't have the wall. If you're using the Turtle, the Blender, or Orb Devo, this is going to be pretty awesome. Essentially, it's going to turn thorns from being 2 ticks to just a 1 tick to eliminate enemies. Once you have the wall, it's not going to be as useful because you're only going to be doing a percentage of your thorns damage, but it's still going to be pretty good. Because of that, especially for the effect it's going to have on new players, we're also going to throw this one into the A tier. Next up, we have to move into the event shop, and we're going to have our Submarine and our Kraken. So our Submarine, this is more of a late game player relic. This is going to increase your crit factor by 2%. Once you're in the late game, I'm sure this is going to be helping a ton, but for most players, it's not going to help that much. Now, increasing crit factor is going to increase your crit factor, but it's also going to help increase your super crit factor. And while those are great, I don't think a lot of players are going to be reaping the benefit of this, so we're just going to throw this into the B tier. Last up is going to be the Kraken, and this is going to increase defense absolute by 5%. And again, this is another epic relic. Now, defense absolute is going to be amazing in tier 1 through tier 3. After that, it's not going to really shine. But in the early game, it makes such a difference, and it can really take you another couple hundred rounds. And it can be so impactful in the early game. And because of that, I think I'm actually going to give it an S tier ranking. Now, after tier 3, I would throw this down into the D tier because it's not worth getting. But I am a completionist, so we're going to go ahead and just grab it. Now that we're finished with the relics, we're going to go ahead and talk about the tower skin and the tower background. Now, I already mentioned the things I like about it, the bubbles, the fish and sharks going around, the light, and how the tower is complemented by the color of the enemies. And I think this is a really great skin to have, and I do think it's one that I'm going to be using a lot. I don't like using tower skins and tower backgrounds with other ones. Now, for example, the shuriken and the rain background or the star background, I think those are great. They really go with each other kind of well, but if you wanted to use something like the sheep or the fried egg or the black hole, there's just some that don't go with others that well, and I don't think this tower skin would go with others really well. I think these would be two that you really want to use together. But they are really great, and I know that I'm going to be using this again, so I am going to go ahead and throw both of these into the S tier. Actually, I'm going to throw the tower skin into the A tier, just because the tower background, it really steals the show on this one. If you guys like the breakdown of this event and me ranking all of the relics and all of the tower skins and backgrounds, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below, and I'll do this on the next one, and we'll see if we can start a little series with that. If you guys liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button, and go ahead and subscribe for more content just like this.